if they remain around $105 per barrel on average for the full year,
Okay.
then we are looking at a GDP growth of 5.8% and a
Right.
CPI inflation of around 4.8%. El Nino on top of this would further pull down the growth and push up the inflation. But the extent, it's too early to really take a call because we don't know how strong the El Nino will be right now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Macro Decode. This year, the prediction of El Nino and probability of below normal monsoon is a worry for the economy at a time when it is bearing the brunt of Middle East crisis. Aditi Nayyar, chief economist of ICRA, is joining us to help us analyze how El Nino had affected the food crops and the growth of economy previously and understand the possible impact this time. Welcome to the show. What is the prediction about the southwest monsoon this time? If you look at the data for the past few years or maybe decades, what has been the impact of El Nino on rainfall?
So as of now, what we have from the IMD is a forecast that the monsoon will be 92% of the long period average or LPA in 2026. And typically 96 to 105% or thereabouts is what is considered to be normal. So this
Right.
would be a below normal year as far as the IMD's first forecast is concerned. And they've also cautioned that this could be a year where we experience an El Nino, which is typically something that is negative for the monsoon.
Wow.
Now, we've had El Nino in 8 out of the last 24 years. So
Okay.
typically, on average, you can expect that it will be there every third year. And
Okay.
for the last 2 years, we've had very good monsoons without El Nino. So, in a sense, statistically, anyways, we could have expected it to develop this year or next year. So, as of now, that is a fear that we will get it this year.
Okay.
Now, in the years that we did have an El Nino, the monsoon rainfall was 1 to 22% below normal. It really differed depending on the strength of the El Nino. And
Right.
similarly, the Kharif output was also 1 to 23% below normal in these 8 years.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
in 4 of the 8 years, the total output, which is Rabi plus Kharif put together, ended up contracting. So, what
Right.
will the impact on a monsoon this year and on food grain output will depend on the strength of the El Nino. We do
Right.
have one insurance sort of factor. One positive factor is that the reservoir levels are well above last year's and the historical averages. So that
Okay.
gives us a little bit of a cushion in terms of being able to withstand the impact of a delayed or a below normal rainfall.
Right. Even if like we have a reservoir levels a little higher than usual, but still I think some of the states are rain fed, for their crops. They're heavily dependent on rains. So this impact will be different for different states and region.
It could be, and it depends on two things. One, what is the rainfall in the core area
Okay.
versus in the other area. So sometimes what happens is when the rains aren't very good, you
Hmm.
end up seeing that the less productive land is what is not sown. So
Okay.
the impact on overall output is not that much because you are basically leaving your less productive land fallow and you're
Right.
concentrating your inputs on your more productive land.
Okay.
So first is a geographical application. Second is temporal.
Yeah.
My sort of, my reading of looking at the Indian economy for 2 decades is that if you have good reservoir levels, even if you have a delayed onset of the monsoon in June and July, if rainfall is below normal in June and July, healthy reservoir levels can help to nullify the impact or offset the impact of that to a large extent. August is what ends up being a very critical month where you really need rainfall for the crops to flourish.
Right.
And heavy rainfall in September ends up again being counterproductive. So
Yeah.
slightly below normal rainfall in September also, I think is easier to absorb and get past. So both the geographical and the temporal distribution will be very important to understand, what is really the overall Kharif output and yield in 2026.
Right. Yeah. As you said, it will be a little difficult to analyze, like at this point of time, what will be the impact. But still, if you look at the previous El Nino years, which are the crops that are affected and how much food production had got affected?
See, typically what happens if farmers are aware that monsoon will be below normal, they will anyway switch to crops which are less water intensive. So
Okay.
that will anyways change your pattern of production towards less water intensive crops away from more water intensive crops. And then it depends on the strength of the El Nino and it depends on what is the actual rainfall that you end up getting. So like I
Yes.
was saying, in all the 8 years that we've had El Nino in the last 24 years,
Hmm.
Kharif output has contracted.
Okay.
But the extent of the contraction has ranged from as little as 1% to as much as 22%. So
Okay.
that's where the strength of the El Nino matters. And
Right.
in 4 of those 8 years, the Rabi output was not enough to offset the contraction in Kharif. So in
Right.
4 out of the 8 years, you had an overall contraction in output also.
El Nino comes at a very crucial time, as I mentioned earlier, the Middle East crisis that is affecting our fertilizer availability, and the fuel shortage is also set to spike inflation. How do you see these factors affecting the farm sector?
Definitely, that is a very real concern that we have to watch for. My understanding is that for most fertilizers right now, the stocks are okay. There are one or two fertilizers where there is a bit of an issue. But
Right.
obviously, how long the crisis continues will have an impact on the availability of stocks. Normally, we see a lot of import of fertilizers, for instance, in the month of May, right
Right.
before the sowing has to start.
Yeah.
So we are at the end of April pretty much. How the next few weeks play out will have an impact on the availability of fertilizers and feedstock going ahead and prices as well. As of now, our expectation is that the fertilizer subsidy will have to go up by about 30 to 35,000 crore above the budget estimate for FY27. So that is something that the government would have to possibly absorb. Overall, not expecting the full price pass through to the farmer. It'll be more of an availability issue right now than necessarily a price issue, because the price increase would probably be absorbed by the government instead of being passed on to the farmer.
Okay. As of now, has there been any kind of a data coming from the government on how much fertilizer is available for the Kharif crop?
Yes, my understanding is that for most fertilizers, the situation is fine, barring one or two.
Now, if El Nino becomes a little harsh on us, and if the farm sector revenues are hit, it will in turn affect several other industries. It could be directly or indirectly. Tell me more about which are the sectors that are going to be impacted.
See, the typical ones would be things like the auto sector, tractor demand, construction would take a hit, so cement and steel, and FMCG as well. These would be the very obvious sectors which would be negatively impacted. However, some sectors benefit when the monsoon is on the lower side, so there would be some offset. Of course, in all such situations, there are winners and losers. So the sectors that would benefit from higher temperatures and lower monsoon would be, like the power sector, for instance. Demand for power would go up both from the household and the agricultural sector. Similarly, air conditioners, fridges, beverages. All of these would end up seeing higher demand if the summer ends up being hotter and drier than normal.
Right. What about the credits? Credit segments like agri credit or micro credit. Will there be any kind of impact on those kind of sectors because of the El Nino?
See, it would depend. For instance, normally my experience is that the demand for agri credit goes up, or even in times where, for instance, we've done sowing once, and then
Oh,
maybe you have unplanned, unexpected rainfall, and the seeds get washed away. So you have to buy the seeds again, and you have
oh,
to redo the planting. That is
right.
again something that can lead to higher demand for agri credit. So
Oh,
it would depend in this case whether how the micro factors play out, whether agri credit would need to go up or not.
right. Overall, what could be the impact on the economy, considering both below normal monsoon as well as the Middle East crisis? Most of the rating agencies have already lowered their GDP forecast for this year due to the West Asia crisis. Now, if you also add the monsoon impact, what could be the kind of growth forecast that could be there for this year? And also, what will the impact on the inflation as such?
So basically, on 27th of February, which is the day that the new GDP series had come out, we had
Right.
pegged GDP growth for FY27 for India at 7.1%. And at
Right.
that time, we thought that the CPI inflation would be around 4 to 4.2% for FY27.
Okay.
Now, taking into account the West Asia crisis, what we've done is we've assumed that the baseline crude oil price for what we actually buy in India in FY27 would be an average of $85 per barrel. And
Right.
here I'm stressing on the fact what we actually end up buying, not the mechanical Indian basket, which is a weighted average of different grades of crude,
Yeah.
which we may not actually be buying right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So what
Yeah.
we actually buy, if it averages $85 per barrel, then we are looking at GDP growth being 6.5% in FY27 in our
Right.
base case,
Right.
at CPI inflation being 4.5% in our base case, which
Okay.
presumes that the retail selling prices of petrol and diesel will not be increased. Basically,
Okay.
the excise duty will be moderated, but the RSPs, the pump prices will remain the same.
Right.
Now, El Nino on top of this would further pull down the growth and push up the inflation. But the extent, it's too early to really take a call because we don't know how strong the El Nino will be right now.
Yeah. Right. But if, as you said, you're looking at crude price at 85 per barrel. But what we are seeing recently is like, it's somewhere hovering around $100 per barrel. If $100 per barrel is taken as a price for the year, what could be the inflation and what could be the impact on the economy?
So $85 per barrel presumes that the war will end quickly and prices will fall to, let's say, $80 per barrel. They will not go back to the pre-war levels because of all the damage to the infrastructure, etc.
That's right.
But they will come down to maybe 80.
Okay.
If they remain around $105 per barrel on average for the full year,
Okay.
then we are looking at a GDP growth of 5.8% and a
Right.
CPI inflation of around 4.8%.
As you said, we don't know the impact of El Nino, but if you have to analyze the previous years and also have to factor in those kind of impact on this, additionally, how much inflation and how much
Yeah.
growth can we expect?
See, the issue is that the impact of El Nino has varied quite a lot depending on its intensity.
Right.
So, not knowing the intensity today, it's difficult for me to use sort of an average to moderate my GDP or my CPI inflation forecast. But definitely, there would be a downside to the growth forecast, and there would be an upside to the inflation forecast.
Okay. At this point of time, because we are in a very uncertain kind of a period, both in terms of Middle East crisis as well as the monsoons. What should the government do, in your opinion, so that we are cushioned from the kind of inflation as well as the lower growth?
See, I think they've already moderated the excise duty so that the pump prices are not increased right away. And I think this is a very good step because we don't know how long the crisis will last. What
Right.
happens with some prices is not many prices, or for some items, prices may not be reset very often. For instance, some kinds of services, fees. So
Okay.
when you increase the fees at the beginning of the year, even if the crude oil price moderates after that, or rather if the petrol and diesel pump prices come down after that, you may
Right.
not lower the fees later.
Yeah.
So
That's
once you have a step up, it becomes sticky. So
okay.
not knowing the duration of the crisis, possibly it's appropriate from an inflation management point of view to first let excise duty absorb the shock and
Okay.
only later to let the pump prices change. So I think this the government has managed very well. Very quickly they announced the changes in the excise duty. So this is one good thing. On the farm sector side, making sure that all the other inputs are available. And of course, your grain is what it is, but all the other inputs should be available so that the farmers are able to maximize whatever they can. Also information, if farmers can be made aware, and I'm sure there are a lot of channels through which this is already happening,
Mm.
that in the next 48 hours, there will be heavy rain. So this
Okay.
is a good period to do the sowing.
Right.
That information can also help the farmers maximize the rain which actually is going to be there, and look at the correct period to do the sowing instead of sowing the seed and then finding that for a few days after that there is zero rain and they're not able to actually water the seeds adequately.
Okay. Are the farmers actually informed about, what is the monsoon going to be, how much rainfall will probably have, what are the kind of crop that you can go for because you have a below a normal monsoon? Those kind of information is reaching to every farmer across the country, or is it just, happening here and there kind of?
See, I believe that the information availability to farmers has gone up quite a lot. Now, I mean, obviously, I don't know if it's going to every last farmer. It would depend on their, use of smartphones, etc., to be able to receive the information also. But I believe there have been great strides in making real-time information available to farmers.
Right. So that was Ms. Aditi Nayyar talking to us about how this El Nino phenomenon would probably affect our economy. She has actually analyzed how it has affected in our previous years. And we also have a double whammy from the Middle East crisis. So things are looking uncertain at this point of time. We will have to wait and watch to see how these phenomena are affecting our economy as well as the inflation. Thank you, Aditi, for joining me on the show.
Thank you.